This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has received a telephone call from the President of the Council of Ministers of Italy, Ms. Giorgia Meloni. The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has received the Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Portuguese Republic, Mr. Paulo Rangel, and the accompanying delegation. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has warned that Israeli occupation's unlawful plans to expand settlements in the E1 area of the occupied West Bank would serve in northern and southern parts and deal a serious blow to the two-state solution. Hello and welcome to Radio Algeria International. I'm your host, Mr. Sharfi. The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has received a telephone call from the President of the Council of Ministers of Italy, Ms. Giorgia Meloni. During their exchange, they discussed bilateral cooperation between Algeria and Italy, a friendly country, as well as the upcoming Euro-African summit. They also addressed the fight against illegal migration and the visit of Ms. Meloni, scheduled to take place in Algeria after the month of Ramadan, which will constitute an opportunity for the establishment of the Algerian-Italian Chamber of Commerce, proposed by Ms. Meloni. The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has addressed a message of gratitude and recognition to the President of the People's Republic of China, Mr. Xi Jinping. The President of the Republic expressed his gratitude to Chinese President for the message of congratulations following the successful launch of the LSAT-3 satellite from Jiquan, highlighting the depth of bilateral relations, strong friendship, and fruitful cooperation between the two countries. He also stressed that this achievement represents an important milestone in their historical relations, now at their most advanced stage, thanks to shared political will to strengthen the strategic partnership. He added that on the occasion of celebrating his achievement, he renewed his assurance to continue working with China to achieve further success and accomplishments in line with the aspirations of both countries and their friendly peoples. He concluded by reiterating his sincere thanks and conveying his highest considerations and profound friendship to the Chinese President. The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has received the Minister of State in charge of Foreign Affairs of the Portuguese Republic, Mr. Paulo Rangel, and the accompanying delegation. The meeting took place in the presence of the Minister of State, Mr. Ahmed Attaf, and other officials. Mr. Rangel described Portugal-Algeria relations as excellent and special, expressing hope that his visit to President Tebboune would further strengthen and consolidate them. The Portuguese minister stated that he discussed with the President of the Republic the future of Algeria-Portugal relations, Algeria's ties with the European Union, and key international issues including the Middle East, conflicts in Africa, and the situation in Sahel.
J'ai eu une réunion très approfondie.
I had a very in-depth and very detailed meeting with my counterpart, the Minister, but naturally, concluding my visit with a meeting with the President of the Republic is a sign that there is, I would say, a strength and a visibility for the Portuguese public that is truly exceptional. I must say that political relations are excellent and that economic relations already have a long-standing tradition.
Ont déjà une grande tradition.
Furthermore, the Portuguese minister recalled on this occasion the substance of his very in-depth and detailed meeting with Mr. Attaf.
Nous avons aussi parlé un peu sur les situations internationales.
We also spoke a bit about international situations, our concern with the Middle East, especially Gaza, our concern with conflicts in Africa, in Sudan, in the Congo, in northern Mozambique, the situation in the Sahel, which is also a situation with strong reasons for our concern, and also about the very important relations between Algeria and the European Union, the vision for the future of relations between the Mediterranean and the European Union, and between the countries neighboring the Mediterranean. We had, I would say, a very, very comprehensive meeting, which was then crowned by this meeting. We had, I would say, a very, very comprehensive meeting, which was then crowned by this meeting with Mr. the President, where we also discussed the challenges of politics in the future.
De la politique dans l'avenir.
The meeting between President Tebboune and Minister Rangel underscored the strong Algerian-Portugal ties, highlighting their commitment to deepening bilateral cooperation, strengthening EU relations, and addressing key regional and international issues. The Minister of Health, Mr. Mohamed Sadiq Ait Msoudan, has received here in Algiers his Tunisian counterpart, Mr. Mustafa Ferjani, with whom he discussed ways to strengthen cooperation and partnership between the two countries in the field of health. More details with Jamal Silmani.
The meeting focused on strengthening cooperation in patient care, health system development, human resources, research and innovation, while exploring joint programs and better coordination between health institutions to improve service quality and system performance in both countries. Mr. Ait Msoudan said the visit reflects the common commitment to strengthen health sector cooperation with the strong support of Presidents Tebboune and Qais Said, providing a solid foundation for fruitful bilateral relations. For his part, Mr. Ferjani welcomed the talks, noting that common health challenges require bilateral cooperation to ensure a safe health future, and emphasized implementing the President's vision to bring quality health care closer to citizens. The two ministers emphasized continuing consultations, promoting skills and developing projects to strengthen bilateral health cooperation, concluding with a visit to Mohamed Lamine Debarine University Hospital, where the Tunisian minister was briefed on key medical services and Algeria's experience.
The President of the Council of the Nation, Mr. Azzouz Nasri, has chaired at the Council's headquarters in Algiers the ceremony for the establishment of parliamentary friendship group between the Council of the Nations and their counterparts in several African countries' parliaments. In a speech delivered on this occasion, Mr. Nasri stated that the establishment of parliamentary friendship groups is a key tool of parliamentary diplomacy, building strong bridges between peoples. During the ceremony attended by Secretary of State Ms. Selma Bakhta-Mansouri, members of the Council and African diplomats, he highlighted that these groups reflect fraternity, cooperation, and historical ties rooted in shared struggle against colonialism, for freedom, sovereignty, and African leadership. He emphasized the importance of these groups for strengthening cooperation with African senates, supporting democratic practice, and advancing Algeria's diplomatic and economic policies. In this context, Mr. Nasri stressed that the Council's ties with African parliaments reflect Algeria's commitment to African unity, development, and shared values.
إن حرص مجلس الأمة على توثيق روابط الصداقة.
The Council of the Nations' keenness to strengthen ties of friendship with African parliaments reflects Algeria's commitment under the leadership of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, to mobilize African efforts for the revival of Africa and to move forward the constraints of crises, conflicts, and economic dependence to the horizons of sovereignty, leadership, and advanced economy, which lie in true continental integration. I call on African parliamentarians to promote a culture of peace and national reconciliation, whose benefits Algeria experienced after a bitter struggle with terrorism, and to harness all instruments to end colonialism, reject conflict, and strengthen African common values within the framework of diversity, unity, and coexistence.
At the end of the ceremony, the lists of friendship groups were handed over to the ambassadors and representatives of the concerned African countries. The Minister of Labour, Employment and Social Security, Mr. Abdelhak Saihi, has received in Algiers the resident representative of the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, in Algeria, Ms. Natasha Van Rijn, with whom he discussed ways to strengthen cooperation with the UNDP. More details with Jamal Silmani.
The meeting, which is part of the implementation of the Algerian state's policy to promote work and employment and strengthen the social protection system, focused on ways to strengthen cooperation with the UNDP in service of national objectives in the fields of social development, social and solidarity economy, as well as improving professional integration mechanisms. During the meeting, the minister assessed the main lines of the sector's strategy centered on national priorities and the public policies of the state, noting that any international cooperation with this framework aims to support national efforts and accompany programs led by Algeria to be in line with the requirements of sustainable development. In this context, Mr. Sehi emphasized that the model of social and solidarity economy adopted by the Algerian state constitutes a strategic choice derived from the specificities of Algerian society, but also a natural extension of the social security system based on the principles of social justice, solidarity, and intergenerational support, which the state seeks to develop and strengthen. For her part, the UNDP resident representative highlighted the policies undertaken by Algeria in the field of social development, reaffirming UNDP's readiness to support the ministry's efforts and provide the necessary technical assistance within the framework of respecting the choices of the Algerian state and its priorities in development. At the conclusion of the meeting, emphasis was placed on the importance of continuing consultation and coordination in order to strengthen cooperation with the established objectives, support employment, and promote social development at the national level.
The International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, IFRC, has reported that the humanitarian situation in El Fasher, in the Darfur region of Western Sudan, remains catastrophic 100 days after rapid support paramilitary forces took control of the city, with fears of a repeat of the atrocities witnessed recently in Kordofan. In a statement to reporters, the IFRCC's Deputy Regional Director for Africa, Pierre Kermer, has expressed grave concern about the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Sudan and the heavy burden borne by civilians.
The situation in El Fasher today remains catastrophic. Humanitarian operations are largely on hold. As you know, access is extremely constrained in the city. So it's why, from our side, the conflict must end and civilian and humanitarian workers must be protected. We, as IFRC, remain extremely concerned, of course, about this situation. We are not the only one, and especially for the internally displaced people in Sudan, and of course the ongoing conflict in the country, which is certainly the worst humanitarian crisis in the world today. We have seen in El Fasher shocking trauma, shocking violence as well. People have lost loved ones, homes have been destroyed, women raped and families torn apart. A city once full of life has been reduced in a city where people are forced to flee.
Earlier, the head of the Sudanese Sovereign Council and Army Commander Lieutenant General Abdel Fattah Burhan announced the opening of the road to Kadugli, the capital of the South Kordofan state, and the end of the siege imposed on it. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has warned that Israeli occupation's unlawful plans to expand settlements in the E1 area of the occupied West Bank would sever its northern and southern parts and deal a serious blow to the two-state solution.
For 50 years, this committee has stood firm in defending a simple truth: the inalienable rights of the Palestinian people, including the right to self-determination, must be realized and respected, fully, consistently, and without delay. In Gaza, Palestinians continue to endure grave suffering. Since the October agreement, more than 500 Palestinians have been killed. I urge all parties to implement the agreement in full, exercise maximum restraint, and comply with international law and UN resolutions. I also call for the facilitation of rapid and unimpeded passage of humanitarian relief at scale, including through the Rafah crossing. Any sustainable solution in Gaza must be consistent with international law and result in Gaza and the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, being governed by a unified, legitimate, and internationally recognized Palestinian government. Gaza is and must remain an integral part of a Palestinian state.
Guterres again has called on the occupier to immediately allow humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip as it continues to block dozens of Palestinians from exiting the war-ravaged enclave to seek medical treatment.
In the occupied West Bank, relentless illegal settlements, expansion, demolitions, displacements and evictions are accelerating. More than 37,000 Palestinians were displaced in the West Bank in 2025 alone, a year that also saw record high levels of Israeli settler violence. The recently published tender by Israel for 3,401 housing units in the E1 area, alongside continued demolitions, is profoundly alarming. If carried forward, it would sever the northern and southern West Bank, undermine territorial contiguity, and strike a severe blow to the viability of a two-state solution.
Meanwhile, the World Health Organization has hailed the first medical evacuation of 5 patients from the Gaza Strip through the recently opened Rafah crossing, meanwhile warning that thousands remain in urgent need of care. The World Health Organization spokesperson Christian Lindmeier said over 18,500 patients in Gaza require specialized medical care unavailable in the Strip.
On 2nd February, WHO and partners supported the medical evacuation of 5 patients and 7 companions to Egypt via the Rafah crossing. It was the first medical evacuation through this route since sometime in 2025 after that ceasefire. It's fantastic for the 5 patients, and every single patient who manages to get out is important given the medical situation in Gaza. But it's always important to note more than 18,500 patients in Gaza still require specialized medical care that is currently not available in the Strip. So 18,500. We managed to get 5 out, which is again fantastic, but obviously we need many more. We are hoping this is increasing and turning into really a process where many more of those who need evacuations can actually leave.
Palestinian cancer patients in the Gaza Strip face an uncertain future, as most specialized hospitals have been destroyed due to the genocidal Zionist aggression that devastated the territory for 2 years. More details with Jamal Silmani.
In a statement issued on World Cancer Day, which takes place every year on the 4th of February, the Health Palestinian Authority stressed that cancer patients in the Gaza Strip represent the most painful form of suffering and face an uncertain future. According to the same source, at least 11,000 cancer patients are deprived of specialized treatment and diagnostic services, both inside and outside the Gaza Strip, and 4,000 patients with medical referrals for treatment abroad have been waiting for more than 2 years for the crossing to open and for their travel arrangements to be facilitated. According to the Palestinian health authorities, the closure of specialized hospitals and the destruction of the Gaza Cancer Center have exacerbated the suffering of patients. It added that 64% of cancer drugs are completely out of stock. In addition, cancer patients are besieged by catastrophic health, social, psychological, and economic conditions. To this end, the Palestinian health authorities are appealing to all parties concerned to allow patients to travel, to receive treatment abroad, to bring in essential medicines, and to rehabilitate healthcare centers. The statement also noted that the Palestinian Authority is unable to meet the basic needs of cancer patients, including food, water, and electricity.
A new global study by the World Health Organization and its International Agency for Research on Cancer shows that 4 out of 10 cases of this disease worldwide could be prevented. According to the new analysis released to mark the World Cancer Day, 37% of all new cancer cases registered in 2022, or more than 7 million cases, are linked to preventable factors. To mark World Cancer Day, our weekly program, The Health Magazine, highlights the latest breakthrough in the fight against pancreatic cancer. You have been listening to Radio Algeria International. Thank you so much.